Hey guys, what's up? This is Vinnie Stevens here, and welcome to another video for my channel, and welcome to Alana with another video of vinyl reviews. So it is starting to get a wee bit dark outside, so I have put a light just behind me and two kind of torch lights here so you can see me better. So I did start videoing this video weeks ago, but I had problems with the audio and I didn't have the script fully finished before I was due to go away, and I would have been in a bit of a rush. I will be doing a video on why I haven't been doing videos recently, and also a big announcement coming soon. But in this video we're going to be reviewing the second Acdc album out of my collection, and the second one out of this kind of series of vinyl reviews. It's going to be I'm on the highway to hell, born on highway to hell. Yes, I should really actually stop doing that. It's Highway to Hell by Acdc. So enough of me talking, let's get into the video. I should have said review, but anyway, who are Acdc? So I've taken this apart from the last video, from the last script, but I've tweaked it a bit. But anyway, so Acdc is an Australian rock band that was formed in Sydney, Australia in 1973. At the time of the release of Highway to Hell, it consisted of Malcolm Young, the founder of the band, on rhythm guitar and backing vocals. He was in the band from 1973 to 2014, died there last year in 2017. Angus Young, the other founder and brother of Malcolm Young, on lead guitar. He has been in the band since 1973 and still the only original member of the band. Phil Rudd on drums. He was in the band from 1975 to 1983, then again from 1994 to 2015. Cliff Williams on bass and backing vocals. He was in the band from 1977 to 2016. He retired. And lead singer Bon Scott, who was in the band from 1974 until his death in 1980. The band today consists of Angus Young, Chris Slade, who was the drummer for the band from 1989 to 1994. He rejoined the band in 2015. Stevie Young, who's the nephew Malcolm Young, he joined in 2014, and Axl Rose, yes, the singer from Guns N' Roses, he joined the band in 2016. The band's genres they play are hard rock, blues rock, rock and roll, but they have been classified as a heavy metal band. The band have released 17 studio albums, 4 live albums, 11 video albums, 58 music videos, 1 EP, 47 singles, 2 soundtracks and 2 box sets. Now on to background of the album. So, background of the album. So, Highway to Hell is the 6th studio album by the band and was released on the 27th of July 1979. It was the band's 5th international release studio album and the 6th to be released in Australia. It was the last album featuring lead singer Bon Scott, who died early the following year on the 19th of February 1980. By 1978, the band had released 5 studio albums internationally and had toured Australia and Europe extensively. By 1977, the band landed in the US with no radio support and began a mass live following. The band previous album, their live album, If You Want Blood, You Got It, had reached number 13 in the UK. Their 2 previous albums before that, 1978's Power Age and 1977's Let There Be Rock, had the band follow and find a raging rhythm and blues based hard rock sound. Before that, 1976, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap had been rejected by Atlantic Records, but now they believed that the band could strike in the US with this album. They needed a producer to give them like a radio friendly sound. So since their first album, the Australian debut of 1975's High Voltage, up, all their albums up to Power Age were produced by George Young, who's a relation to Malcolm and Angus Young, and a guy called Harry Vanda. The producer of Atlantic paired the band up with South African born Eddie Kramer, best known for his producing work as an engineer for Jimi Hendrix, but also for like mega bands of the 70s, Led Zeppelin and Kiss. Kramer met the band at Criteria Studios in Miami, Florida in the United States, but by all accounts the band and him did not get along. The band thought that Eddie Kramer was useless because he talked to the band about recording covers of Spencer Davis songs like Give Me Some Lovin' and I'm a Man. Manager Michael Browning turned to Zambian-born producer Robert John Lang to step in. Lang was best known for producing both the Bowtime Rats' #1 hit Rat Trap and post-prog rock bands like Clover City Boy and Graham Parker. And later on he went on to produce for couple albums for Def Leppard. The band spent 3 weeks in Miami, didn't write anything with Kramer. The band went into the studio one day and put down 6 songs, sent it to Line and asked to work with them as a producer for this album. At the time, the band also had signed up with new management, firing their manager Michael Browning and hiring a guy called Peter Menish, that's how you say his name, who was an aggressive American who had helped develop the careers of likes of Aerosmith and Ted Nugent. Now on to recording. So recording for this album was at Roundhouse Studios in Clark Farm in North London, England in March 1977. In his book Highway to Hell, Clinton Walker writes that the band firstly moved into Roundhouse Studios in Clark Farm, spent the best part of 3 months there. Then to start with was a shock to ACDC to the band. He had never previously spent more than 3 weeks on any one album. Sessions for the album were 15 hours a day, day in, day out, over 2 months, which was grueling for the band. The songs were worked and reworked. Lyon's no-nonsense approach was appreciated by the band, whose own work ethic had always been solid. In an article by Mojo's, Saviv Siemens, if that's how you said it, Malcolm Young had stated that line, like the simplicity of a band, we were all like minimalist. We felt the best way to be. He knew we were all dedicated. So he sort of got it. But he made sure the tracks were solid and he could hear if a snare just went off. In the same article, Angus Young added that he was marvelous. Curious about the sound. If I've said that right, again, the right guitar and drums sounds. He would zero in, and he was good too on the vocal side. Even Bon was impressed with how he could get his voice to sound. In ACDC's Maximum Rock and Roll, guy called Arnold Derricks, if that's how you say his name, writes that Lang was a trained singer, showed Scott how to breathe so he could be a technically better singer on songs like Touch Too Much and would join in on the background vocals himself, having to stand on the other side of the studio because his own voice was so distinctive. The melodic backing vocals was a new element to the band's sound, but the polish that line added did the detract from the band's characteristic crunch, therefore satisfying the band and Atlantic Records at the same time. So now on to composition. So composition. So the album's most famous song is its title track, obviously Highway to Hell. From the outset, Atlantic Records hated the idea of using the song as the album title. The words Highway to Hell took on a new renaissance when Scott drunk himself to death in 1980. Scott's lyrics in Highway to Hell almost extensively with lust, such as songs like Loving Hungry Man, Girls Got Rhythm, sex, songs like Beating Around the Bush, Touch Too Much and Walk All Over You, and Partying on the Town, like Get It Hot and Shut Down in Flames. In 2006, band's member Murray Eaglehart reveals that he felt the lyrics of the songs like Gone Shooting from presetting Party was simply too serious. Touch Too Much had first been recorded in July 1977, but with a radically different arrangement and lyrics from what's on the album. The vinyl version was performed by Scott and Acdc on the BBC Music show Top of the Pops a few days before Bon Scott died in 1980. The song If You Want Blood You've Got It was borrowed from the title of the band's live album from the previous year and stemmed from Scott's response to a journalist at the Dave the Green Festival in January 1978 asked they could expect from the band. Scott replied, "Blood." The opening guitar riff of Beating Around the Bush has been referred to by journalist Phil Suffolk, that's how you say his name, as almost a tribute, like a reflection. He said that he hesitates to say a copy of All Well by Fleetwood Mac. Asked about what was the worst record you've ever made, Angus replied, "There's a song on Highway the Hell, which is Love Hungry Man, which I must have written about after a night of bad pizza. You could blame me for that." Perhaps the album's most infamous song is Night Prowler, mainly due to his association with a serial killer called Richard Ramirez, who in January 1985, who was highly publicised murder case began resolving around him. He was responsible for brutal killings in Los Angeles. He nicknamed himself the Night Stalker. Obviously, he was a fan of the band, particularly with the song Night Parlour. Police also claimed that he was wearing an ACDC shirt and left an ACDC hat at one of the crime scenes. During his trial, Richard Ramirez often murdered Hail Satan and showed off a pentagram carved into his hand. This brought like extreme later bad publicity to the band, whose concerts and albums faced protests by parents in Los Angeles. On VH1's Behind the Music on ECDC, the band maintained that the sound had been given on a murderous continuation by Ramsey, or if that's how you say his name, but it's actually about a boy sneaking into his girlfriend's bedroom at night while her parents are asleep. In spite of lyrics such as "and you don't feel the steel that was hanging on your back," the final words by Scott on the Sun are Shazbu Nanu phrases from the popular American sitcom Mork and Mindy by lead characters Mark, visiting extranjero. I can't say that. Who was played by Robin Williams. The phrase that actually closed this album. So now on to release. So Highway to Hell, as I said, this was released on 27th July 1979, nearly 40 years ago now, by Albert Productions, who licensed the album to Atlantic Records for release outside of Australia, and was then re-released by Epic Records in 2003 as part of a remastered Acdc remastered series. On the 25th of May 2006, Highway to Hell went with certificate 7 times platinum by the RIAA. In Australia, Highway to Hell was originally released with a slightly different album cover featuring frames and a drawing of a bass neck superimposed over the same group photo used on the international cover, which is the one that I've got. Also, the ACDC logo is a darker shade of maroon, but the accents are a bit lighter. Additionally, the East German release, which is now Germany, released had a different and much plainer design on the front and back, apparently because the authorities weren't happy with the sleeve as released elsewhere. 2 songs from the album, Highway to Hell and If You Want Blood You've Got It, are included on the soundtrack album for Iron Man 2, with the former also being played during the final scenes of the movie. The song If You Want Blood You Got It, it's also featured in 5 films. Empire Records, The Longest Yard, Shoot 'Em Up, Final Destination 5, and finally the Dukes of Hazzard film. The song Walk All Over You is featured in the movie Grown Ups. Touch Too Much is featured in the soundtrack for the video game GTA, or Grand Theft Auto Lost and Damned. In October 2010, Highway to Hell was listed as the top 50 in the book 100 Best Australian Albums, with Back in Black and number 2, which is the album that was released after this one. You could go back and check my review on that. The guitars and bass in this album actually were turned down to 1/4 step, except for Night Player, Love Hungry and Get It Hot, which was turned down to a whole half step or half a step. Now on to Reputation. So Reputation. So Highway to Hell became ACDC's first LP to break the US Top 100, eventually reaching number 17. It propelled the band into top ranks of hard rock acts. It is the second highest selling ACDC album, behind Back in Black, which was their next album, and is generally considered as one of the greatest hard rock albums ever made. Get the Cook of Rolling Stone writes that the songs are more compact, the choruses are flattening by rumpy theme harmonies, the prize moment, Scott's close, the hip grinding shot down in flames with the crackle worth of the wicked rich of the rest. In 2008, Rolling Stone's cover story David Frankie notes super producer Mutt Lime Scott shared ACDC's rough graded rock into chart smart boogie on this album. AllMusic calls the song Highway to Hell one of hard rock all-time anthems. Amazon.com has said like what Highway to Hell has that Back in Black doesn't is Bon Scott's ECDC's original lead singer, who had died just months after this album was released. Scott had a rusty, raspy scream of a voice, like he might break into a coffin fit at any moment. In other words, crunchy, hooked heavy metal classes like the title track and Get It Hot, which is a more roadhouse rock and metal. He had the perfect instrument for such a wild living anthems. Too perfect, it turned out. In 2003, the album was ranked number 200 on the Rolling Stones magazine's list of 500 greatest albums of all time. Excuse me. 2013, a fan of the band, Stevie Diamond, and another fan, John Murder, who was behind the Rage Against the Machine Facebook campaign in 2009, spearheaded a Facebook campaign to get the title track to become a UK Christmas #1 UK single chart, obviously to celebrate ECDC's 40th anniversary, and to prevent the X Factor from achieving another #1 hit single. Which is, if you don't know what the X Factor is, it's a talent show, and how I put it is, it's a bunch of posers, really. The campaign raised Proceeds to Feel Yourself, which was a cancer awareness charity. The single peaked at number 4 in the official UK chart, scoring ECDC's first ever top 10 single. Now on to the cover. So the cover, this is actually the international cover. So there it is. So the front of the cover at the top, in the middle, is the ECDC logo. In the middle shows the band, and this is the only album cover from my research to feature all the band members, with Angus Young having like devil horns in his left hand and holding, the devil horns in his head and holding the devil's ear in his left hand, and also wearing his iconic school uniform, which he's famous for. The band are kind of standing over his left shoulder, and the band are like standing behind each other, except for Bon Scott, who is to the right of Angus, leaning in. It's got caps of the name of the album in leather at the bottom. At the back, it's got a grey background. On the left, it shows side 1 in red in caps. Then under in like smaller font, it's got the songs on that side of the album. It's the same to the right for side 2. In the middle, it has a photo of the band, and at the bottom, it's just people who were involved with it, and yeah, and where the album stuff was recorded. So now on to track listings. So I don't have before I usually let you hear the song, but unfortunately I don't have a digital version of this album. So instead, I'm just gonna read out the songs. So in side 1, the first song is the title track, Highway to Hell, which was released as a single. Number 2, also released as a single, was Girls Got Rhythm. Then Walk All Over You. Then 4 is another single, Touch Too Much. And then Beating Around the Bush. Side 2 is Shot Down in Flames, Get It Hot, If You Want Blood, You've Got It, Love Hungry Man, and Night Powder. That's how you say it. Now on to charts. So charts. So in the US Billboard 200 in 1979, it peaked at number 17. In 2009, the Finnish albums chart went to number 37, and again in 1979, the Australian Kent Music Report albums chart went to number 13. The singles in 1979 and in 2013, both were Billboard on the pop charts in 1979 and peaked at number 47, and in 2013 the UK Big Top 40, as I said, reached number 4. Now on to certification. So, certification in Argentina, the CAPIF, it went gold, selling 30,000 units. In Australia, it went 5 times platinum, selling 350,000. In Austria, it went gold, selling 25,000. Canada, it went 2 times platinum, selling 200,000. In France, it went platinum, having sold 502,700. Italy, it went gold, selling 50,000. Same in Switzerland, but theirs is platinum. And then again, BPI in the UK, it's platinum, selling 300,000. And in the United States, it went 7 times platinum and selling over 7 million copies. Now on to my review of the album. So my review on this album, so I kinda didn't want to say about what I said in my last video, but I rate this album, and probably for the first time I have done this, and 9.5 out of 10. Now this was a hard album to rate, just because between this album and Back in Black, being from the same band, both of them are such good albums. I hate to admit this, but I think Back in Black is better. Like, I go into Brian Johnson's ear of the band first before I go into Bon Scott's ear of the band. Like, but I've got into these songs from Bon Scott from this album. At first I didn't like Bon Scott's voice, but it kind of grew on me. His voice is just like so unique. And this year's band, I think this is where they find their classic sound. They kind of continued on. I also see this album as kind of like a closing point for the band in the late 70s, and this album does have like legacy for Bon Scott. Like, if Bon Scott was still around, I think the band really kept this kind of sound on like later albums. Like, I am such a huge Acdc fan. As you could probably see, I'm wearing a Back in Black t-shirt. I've actually got a few more as well, and yeah, I think I am a bit sad that the way the band has gone now, with nearly all the band members left. I don't think that, like, even now, I don't think the band should continue on. But since I have left this video until now, there was rumours and signings of like original band members, except for Cliff Williams, the bass player, outside the studio in Vancouver in Canada. So possibly there may be a new album on the way. But back to this album, I think this album is great. It was on my wish list for a long time. I got this along with Back in Black last Christmas. It's a new copy. This one seems to repeat on one of the songs for some reason. I think that's the only problem I have with this album. Besides that, it's got some of Acdc's Bon Scott classic songs, and even I got them on digital copy, and I think this album is brilliant and is up there in my collection. So I am going to wrap this video up. So guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I will have another vinyl review coming up before I head off again. As you could probably see now, it's not as bright because my light down here went. Kind of for this one, I needed to tweak the script a bit, and I'm working the minute alongside other videos for this channel. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the wee notifications bell somewhere down at the bottom for instant notifications. There will be more vinyl reviews coming. The next video will be the second part of the Build Automotive event, so stay tuned to that. But the next vinyl review video is going to be a Led Zeppelin album, but I'm not going to say which one, so you're going to have to wait and see. So I guess see ya.